In the box we have the instruction manual, which you're most likely not going to need, a privacy cover to block the lens if you're concerned about security, and the camera itself. It's made out of plastic and comes with a glass lens. It has a resolution of 1080p and can achieve 30 frames per second. It comes with dual noise cancelling microphones on the front and has a field of view of 75 degrees. It's USB 2.0 and the cable is non-removable from the back, and it's completely plug and play, meaning that there's no need to install any drivers and it'll work straight out of the box. The head can be tilted forward and backwards at roughly 45 degrees, so there's not too much in the way of movement. There's less movement if you want to tilt it on the side, with a guesstimation of around 20 degrees. The head can be rotated a full 360 degrees, but the more you rotate it, then the more the USB cable will get wrapped around the head. The bottom folds out and has two rubber pads to help grip on a screen and prevent scratching, or it can be used completely unfolded so it's flat, if that's how you prefer to have your setup. On the bottom is a 1/4 inch thread, meaning if you don't fancy attaching it to a screen, then a tripod can be screwed in and used. You'll need your own tripod though, as one doesn't come in the box with the webcam. We're using AMCAP to test the footage in a completely dark room with no lights at all. You can see us and the movement looks really good. There is a massive issue though with the autofocus, as it struggles to track us, meaning that we kept going out of focus. This is due to there being no light in the room, but when we go into the properties in the software and untick auto exposure and have it set to around -4, then this brings a lot more light to the image, and with the extra light brings a much better experience with the autofocus. Moving on to using it with a light on in the room, and auto exposure has been enabled for this test, and this brings much better results. Once again, the movement looks decent and the image quality is pretty good. It also holds focus really well when moving across the frame and moving towards and away from the webcam. Testing it in natural light with just light coming in through the window brings pretty good results again. The autofocus does its job well without losing focus until we go out of the frame, but as soon as we come back it autofocuses very quickly and holds it really well. Attempting to use it out of the box on a green screen proved to be not quite so straightforward. Trying it with lights on and lights off made the green screen look really washed out, which meant that trying to get a good chroma key on it proved difficult. If we covered up the lens with our hand and moved it away, then it picked up the green screen really well for about a second and then it was washed out again. We could get the green screen to go, but it took half our face with it. If we show you a very quick example of what we usually get with our Panasonic camera, shows the shade of green that we're supposed to be working with. You can get it to work, but you will need to play around with the filters in OBS. So if you use something like the colour grading filter and have a play about with the sliders, then you can make the green stand out a lot more and you can get yourself a half decent key. Comparing the SC40 against the Xiaomi Imilab straight out of the box and in completely dark conditions doesn't bring amazing results for either. The SC40, after a few seconds, does try to brighten the image on its own, but in doing so, it keeps losing the autofocus. The movement does look smoother though. The Imilab does hold the focus throughout, but the picture is so dark that some kind of lighting is going to be needed. Moving on to having the light switched on in the room and both cameras look a lot better. The Imilab does bring a brighter image, but with a bluish kind of colour to it, whereas the SC40 has a much more natural colour. The movement looks a lot better on the SC40, with it being less choppy. And finally onto the natural light coming in through the window. Both cameras do a decent job, and the Imilab has now lost that bluish hue to the image. Both are very capable as long as you have some lighting available. Software like AMCAP and OBS will allow you to change the properties and add filters so that you can tweak the settings to give yourself a more desired final image. But this is the kind of picture you can expect straight out of the box. This is an audio test using the Victure inbuilt microphones. We're approximately about a foot away from the webcam. There are two microphones on here as well, so I'm anticipating some half decent sound. So this is the kind of audio you can expect from this camera. This is an audio test using the Xiaomi webcam inbuilt microphone. Our microphone settings in Windows are set to 100%, so this is as loud as we can get this microphone. So overall the webcam performs pretty well. You will need yourself a well lit room or some additional lighting to get the best quality image, but for me the standout feature on this is the dual microphones. They perform really well for a webcam.